What's up everybody, today we got some new Diablo 4 gameplay footage with multiple classes and a lot of skills on display. And while Diablo 4 is currently looking hot and sharp, I am going to be talking about those subjects that people usually don't bring typically up. And those are going to be a couple of negatives, mainly the skills. So, we're just going to watch the video and then I'm going to show you a couple of interesting things to pay attention to. So, we can see this is just a fire source and a couple of classic things. For example, the fireball, a very classic skill and probably gonna be very loved by everyone. And we also see a fireball and Inferno. Inferno was typically complete trash in Diablo 2, but a classic skill nonetheless. But the biggest aspect here is obviously the fireball. Now, Inferno actually looked decent, usable, and feasible, but these are the hard questions that no one's asking about Diablo 4. What are the game developers gonna do to make things like Firewall actually playable and viable? How is something like Firewall gonna be upgradable so it's just not a wasted talent point, so it's just not something that needs to be respec'd out of? What are they gonna do to make it okay? Because, think about it, Diablo 2 had it, no one used Firewall. Path of Exile has it, no one uses that version of Firewall. Even Last Epoch, I think, kind of has something similar like that, and no one uses it. Firewall is a complete dead space, unless you have some kind of way to make it pretty much take up all of the screen, and that's most likely not going to happen. Now, Inferno does look pretty good here, not going to lie, it does look pretty feasible, but the Firewall, honestly, why even implement something like that when there's less than a 1% chance that people are actually going to use it? Hydra. That's what you want to see. Look at that. That Hydra instantaneous response. You put it out and it instantaneously does something. Now that's a feels good mechanic. In Diablo 3, Hydra feels pretty bad when you use it because it doesn't really instantaneously do anything. And considering it's bad AoE and stuff like that, people don't really use it like at all most of the time. So this Hydra already looks way better. You can only have one Hydra at a time. Man, that thing's slaying. Frozen Nova actually freezes everything. And the classic ulti that we have already seen a million times right now. Pretty big AoE nuke. And that's it for the Sorcerers. Not honestly a lot there, but it's pretty insightful. Again, hopefully they find a way to make things like Fireball actually viable. And now it's the Barbarian. And honestly, currently from everything that I have seen, the Barbarian looks just the worst. Because he has one huge problem, it seems like. Doesn't want to get hit. Some kind of charge attack. And then, as you can see, some kind of big meaty strike. Leap slam. Knockdown. And you see, this is the problem. This is why the Barbarian looks bad. Look at this again. Jump in, pretty decent, and then he does that. Bam. Yeah. See, this is the reason why the Barbarian looks the worst currently here. When it comes to hack and slashers, in every single hack and slasher, one thing has been true forever and probably will always be true until the end of time. And that is the fact that when it comes to hack and slash, a singular small AoE attack that deals a lot of damage is never going to be preferred. People will always pick something that deals less damage but feels faster than something that deals a lot of damage but is slower and has a small AoE. Now, if that small thing that deals a lot of damage and is slow has a giant AoE, that's a little bit of a different story. But when it comes to using skills that deal a big chunk of damage like the Barbarian here, honestly, it's not gonna work out. People are gonna hate the slowness. People are gonna like the fact that it feels pretty powerful, pretty meaty, as you can see. But people are gonna hate the slowness. And the moment you have to deal with more than like one creature at a time, people are just gonna absolutely hate skills like that. Maybe it's gonna be a single target damage thing you do on bosses, who honestly knows, but just skills like this, no, they're not gonna cut it. A ground slam, by the way. Now this is the Cleave Classic. Cleave seems pretty okay. Deals decent amount of damage, feels impactful. Also, he just used the literal boot, by the way. I don't know how that's gonna work. It's probably not gonna honestly work, because what are you gonna do with the boot? Let's look at that one again. It's pretty funny. Look. And the boot. Why even implement something like that? I honestly don't even know. It's probably never gonna be used. Summon the Ancients. Now this skill looks really, really good. Obviously it's probably some kind of ultimate, like something like that, because it's just wiping the screen out. But, I don't know. I'm not a too fan of these ultimates. There's probably gonna be a way to make it last almost forever or have no cooldown, and the price for that's gonna be damage, but I think it's gonna be really a staple. Doesn't look too bad, honestly, but still feels slow. Now, finally, the Rogue. Leave grenades behind, throw some daggers. Pretty interesting gameplay. Seems currently by far the strongest, honestly, and this is the highest level you can just see from the damage numbers. Invisibility, if this game finally does have PvP, because we have not had any functional PvP for the last trillion Diablo games, it's gonna be amazing, and probably everyone's gonna obviously hate the stealth. So it looks like the Rogue has some very, honestly, high area effect damage, which is kind of a little bit unexpected, because you think the Rogue would deal like a big single target damage. And while it definitely seems possible right there, is it real? Okay, there we have the Druid. And man, let me tell you, that Crow Storm looks good. And now, for some reason, they modeled the werewolf movement by Kim Kardashian if she was a werewolf. Don't know why they did it, but they did it. But things like that, Crow Storm, are pretty cool. That's the Whirlwind. Some blasts, some lightning, some pretty good stuff, honestly. Good AoE, good single target damage, it looks like. See, skills like that he's using, it's called like Wind Shear or Wind Blast or something like that. It's pretty decent, but at the same time, you need to make it larger. And is that gonna happen? Turn into a werewolf? Now, you see that? That's slam. Now, that's what the Barbarian wants to do, but the Barbarian ain't doing that. Big, meaty slam, feels good, big AoE, big damage, that's what people want to have. But the Barbarian, for some reason, literally does not have any of that, it seems like. So it's gonna be pretty questionable. The rolling boulder thing, a shield, more crows. Now I gotta say, the druid gameplay just seems fluid AF. Not gonna lie. That's called Earth Spike. Could be single damage. Now my problem with Diablo 4 is gonna be, obviously, at some point your skills are gonna be way bigger and do way more damage. We're gonna see that in Intensity. No, Intensity, I'm sorry, the name is. But how is it gonna work out later on? Because I don't want to kill billions of, monsters at the same time. That could be problematic. So, if that happens, all of these single target Earth Spike things, all of those things that hit one target are going to be absolutely demolished. And I don't want that to happen. And that's the tough thing here. Oh yeah, Hammer of Ancients, look at that. That feels pretty good, but again, if you're trying to destroy more than one creature with that, you're probably not gonna have a good feeling. Now that's bigger. But honestly, is that big enough? Unless you leap in every single time, I'm thinking that's probably not good enough, honestly, you know? Frost Snow, low intensity. Jesus Christ. And Frost Snow, a large area, high intensity. That looks pretty decent. It doesn't seem like they're gonna go for anything that covers the whole screen unless it's an ulti, so that's also kind of a big thing. Well, at least things that cover the whole screen are gonna be rare. Wind Shear. Spear. Shear. No, shear. Low intensity, and watch the high intensity. Literally, there's no difference. Now, there is a small difference, but you can't even see it. It's that sad. Yeah, pretty unimpressive. And there's gonna be a question, how do you make something like that actually viable? Cyclone Armor? Oh, it's called Cyclone Armor. Does damage, and it does have a little particle effect here of armor, so I guess it's high. Good. Now look at that. Now that's gonna be what everyone wants to do. Admittedly, melee druid elementalist. Don't know how that's gonna work. Ice armor, low intensity. There's no difference from high intensity. Look at that. Yeah, boom, small explosion. Now this is a high intensity. Now you can see that there's a lot more frost particles around, but I'm not sure that makes a difference. And the explosion seems like a little bit bigger, but at the same time, it's like the effective radius of the low intensity is probably like this, and the high one is like, I don't know, a millimeter bigger. Doesn't seem too great currently. Earth Spike, we already saw that. Now watch this big Earth Spike. Man, now that's something you do. Oh, that's something you don't want to deal with, okay? This is a pretty cool thing. Lightning Spear. Look at that. It's like chain lightning only. Well, it thought. Actually, it's like guided arrow only lightning form. Seems pretty good. High intensity. High intensity just looks so much meatier and so much better, honestly. And it also kind of seems faster, if I'm not mistaken. Hard to tell. Look at that dead blow. Imagine you're playing the game and you're using something like dead blow. It's just gonna feel so sad. You need to make this hit half the screen. And well, knowing Blizzard, they are gonna make so everything that the Barbarian does hits half the screen. High intensity, let's go. Yeah, it doesn't even seem different. Well, actually, it does. This one feels so much bigger. But with a small toothpick sword like that, it doesn't seem that great, you know. Oh, and this we have Incinerate. In Diablo 2, it's called Inferno, but this is actually viable. This is actually viable. Look at this. Now, that's a feels good skill. And this can easily be made viable. And watch this. Now the high intensity one. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Honestly, the area does not seem larger at all. But, man, the word intensity definitely fits here. Look at how beautiful that is. Absolutely gorgeous. All damage area. Now, this is something they did. And I'm not sure why you would actually want to do it. Look at this. This is how it's supposed to kind of work. And I'm not honestly too sure about things like this. And they did it to a lot of different skills. Because the thing is, whenever you press a button for anything in any game, honestly, it's usually the best if you feel the impact instantaneously. That you don't need to wait until, you know, some kind of random arbitrary damage zone comes into contact again. Look at that. Now, this is what Barbarians actually want. And I kind of understand this working like this. But still, like, the Whirlwind is probably a huge mistake if they make it, like, going into a spinny damage thing. But Yeah, no, I think that it's probably not going to be the biggest deal ever. But that's pretty much honestly it. They don't really show too much. Well, okay, let's just show the snake off a little bit. That should be kind of good. Unless this video bugs out. Nope, it is the snake. Look at that. Now, the snake seems pretty okay, but again, you would want the impact to feel instantaneous. And does this do the good job if they actually make the areas like contract and then decontract? I'm not 100% sure. But that's pretty much it. Oh, you also kind of have like these structures, which seems kind of pointless, honestly. You see that? That is just the monster muscular structure for some reason. I don't know. And then there's a bone structure. Why is that necessary? Honestly, no clue at all. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I hope they find a way to make some skills actually impactful and they fix the issue with slow skills. Unless they literally hit the whole screen. But that's pretty much it. Like and subscribe. Bye-bye.